Hello again. Today's 10 for the Team video is entitled Bomb Threat Response, Mail and Package Handling. In particular, we're going to be looking at your bomb threat response form, which is in your emergency action checklist. So if you haven't, please pull that out and have it at hand for this particular training program. We will also provide the form as an independent document that you can download should you wish to have it that way as well. The form used by Charlotte Public Schools is a form provided by the Homeland Security Department of the U.S. government, and it's entitled Bomb Threat Call Procedures. It also, as we'll see, includes a short section on mail and package handling that we'll be covering today. First of all, it's very important that for folks in the front office of each and every building in the Charlotte system, that they have this form pre-printed and know exactly where it is at hand from their desk and near the telephone. If the form is not immediately available when one of these calls comes in, then it obviously is of no use whatsoever. So that's our first task for the day. Let's get these forms printed. Let's identify them in some way so that they can be quickly obtained by a person taking a threatening phone call. We're going to jump around a little bit on this form because I'm going to choose to highlight certain areas of the form, and they aren't necessarily in the consecutive order that they're presented on paper. In the upper right of the form is where the person taking the phone call would quickly note the date, the time the call ended, and also the phone number, if you have it digitally on your screen, of where that caller was calling from. That's in the upper right-hand corner of the form. In the lower left-hand corner, the form also lists notifications you should make upon receiving a call or suspicious mail. At Charlotte Public Schools, it is our procedure that we always call 911 first and report this type of threat. Our second phone call should be to district administration. And then, of course, shortly following that, notifying the principal of the building. The next section of the form I'd like to cover is in the middle of the right-hand column. This is a very important area of the form. It's questions you can ask the caller. Now, this may seem simple and it may seem silly, but historically, when the person on our end of the phone has had the presence of mind to ask simple questions like, where is the bomb located? When will it go off? What does it look like? On occasion, the threatening caller will give us clear answers to such questions. So it's a major loss if we don't think to simply ask these questions. Nothing lost if they elect not to answer, but if we haven't asked the question, we don't have the opportunity for that valuable information. Also, immediately below this questioning section is a section for you to write down the exact words used in the threat. The exact wording can be very important to law enforcement, so please try to capture it as quickly as possible after the call ends. At the lower half of the right-hand column, again, is a very important section in this form. It's information about the caller. When you think about it, we can learn a great deal from the sound of the voice, from the sounds in the background of the call, and so forth. We don't always have a great consciousness about this, and once again, this is the value of the form. We're all a little frazzled when we take a call like this. There's a tendency to be a little frazzled when we take a call like this, and so the form is your friend. The form helps you identify, was there an accent? Was the voice angry, soft, sad, quiet? Were there background sounds? What kind of mental condition was the caller in as far as you can tell? Was there rage? Were they incoherent? Were they irrational? Were they hugely profane? This section of the form is offered to you as a checklist so that even as you're involved in the phone call, you can quickly scan it and be checking the appropriate boxes. Now let's pull out our emergency action checklist. You'll note that the one in the slide is the principal's checklist, so yours, depending on your position in the system, may be somewhat different. In slide number 9, we're utilizing the principal's checklist. Recall that yours may be slightly different depending on the position you hold in the district. I want to in particular draw your attention to the third checkbox under bomb threat. And that checkbox says, if deemed legitimate threat, initiate building evacuation. Principals, this is not a decision you'll have to make entirely on your own. Please understand that this will be a decision made in the form of a team between law enforcement, district administration, and yourselves. So as quickly as possible, it's important that you initiate those phone calls to 911 and to district administration in order to assemble that team and use the collective wisdom to make the best decision possible. You'll also note that on this page of the emergency action checklist that the notification is a little bit different than most of the others. It specifically says PA announcement to check email or a messenger. This is for a very important reason. With the possibility of a bomb in the building, standard practice in such events is to minimize the use of electronic devices, specifically cell phones, radios, and things such as the PA. So we're going to, if necessary, we're going to use the PA only very briefly to draw your attention to email, and then we're going to, as much as possible, avoid the use of those devices. And you're going to find that the first responders follow the same practices as well. If you'll return now back to your bomb threat call procedures form, you'll notice that there's a small section in the left-hand lower portion of the left-hand column that speaks to signs of a suspicious package and mail. It's a bit out of order in my thinking in this particular form, but that's where Homeland Security has decided to put it, and that's why we draw your attention to this section. It does make sense that these two items, bomb threats and suspicious mail, come together because certainly bombs can be delivered through mail as well as other hazardous things. It's a fairly short and brief section, but it covers things about how and why is mail considered suspicious, and I'm not going to read those back to you. You can read them, but go through that area carefully. And then secondly, what we should do if you determine that a piece of mail or a package is indeed suspicious. Things such as no further handling, please, don't open it, notify authorities immediately, etc. So both bomb threats and suspicious mail and packages are handled on this same form. And most importantly of all, if you don't like the look of something, don't put the building and its occupants at risk. Stop and report it immediately and let a larger team look it over and confer with you as to whether or not it's a legitimate threat. In conclusion then, this has been a fairly brief training program. We're really only covering the bomb threat and mail and package handling procedures. We would ask you to go through these forms carefully and make sure that you understand them. We would ask you to make sure that they are in a conspicuous and easily found place at the desk of every person who's expected to take calls at every building. Once again, I remind you that this is an ideal drilling topic. Drop by the front office unannounced, and in 3 minutes you can ascertain whether or not this form is available, can be quickly found, and utilized in the event of a real emergency. Folks, you've heard me say it before, I will be repeating it every time. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Please review this video with your staffs. Please review the most important points of the video with all of the staff. Use it for your drills. Use it in conversations. These are very, very important things that if they don't come up frequently and get some level of reinforcement, they can be quickly forgotten and lost and unavailable when the time comes. Thank you very much. Once again, we remind you that these videos come to you through Charlotte Public Schools. They are a real and tangible demonstration to you of the very, very serious and sincere concern that your district administration has for your welfare. Thank you very much.